Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested, if you want to request any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, video game stuff, re-reviews, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. PayPal's usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under most of these videos. And this time, Bronson wanted me to talk about The Day After Tomorrow. Now, this came out around 2004, and it's a Roland Emmerich film. Now, I don't mind Roland Emmerich. I know a lot of people don't like his filmography, but I love Universal Soldier. That's my favorite of his. I do quite like Independence Day. I do like Godzilla from 1998. It's a film that should not have been called Godzilla. It should have been called something else, but I do like it as fun popcorn entertainment. Then he became the disaster movie guy. I guess he felt like every once in a while he had to keep coming back. And I think his best disaster movie was Independence Day. He had the right cast, wonderful visual effects, Will Smith in his prime, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman. It's kind of like when he went back to that. When he went back to that type of stuff, it kept becoming diminishing returns. I'm sorry, I'm hesitating about because I'm thinking about all the ones he's done. He did this one, which I don't mind. I like it. It's okay. It's kind of one of those time waster, okay, like the type of that feeling. It's not totally love, not totally hate. It's okay. I actually like 2012. I do think that's a better one than this. I will put 2012 John Cusack above this film. I think after that he should never have done any more because he destroyed the entire world in that movie. Or pretty much. Like, most of the world was destroyed. Kind of hard to beat that. But then, I mean, that's around the time you also had 10,000 BC, which I guess that's not a disaster movie, but it's one of his worst movies. Moonfall I did see, and it was awful. I'm like, you know what? I mean, I'm a sucker for these type of disaster movies with a big budget. It might be as scientifically inaccurate as possible. Scientists would have a field day on how everything is wrong about it, but if it's a big budgeted disaster movie, I can have some popcorn fun. I don't know why. Something about it, I'm a sucker for it. What crazy insanity you don't think of, at least you have the decent special effects eye candy, and usually some likable actors involved to have at least a good time at the movies. Moonfall wasn't one of them. It was just dull, boring. Getting back to this. I like White House Down. That's another Roland Emmerich film I like. So I know I'm going to spend like 4 minutes to say I do like a decent amount of the guy's filmography. And like I said, this one is okay, but it's kind of one of those, oh, I forgot he did this type of movies. Because the premise is honestly kind of topical in today's age, where Dennis Quaid, he is taking and drilling for core samples with his buddies. One of them almost gets dropped because the ice is breaking off. And Dennis Quaid has to do a leap of faith to get these core samples and get back. When they check it out, they realize, hey, the climate is shifting. Of course, people in government don't believe them. They say, listen, this is going to cost a lot of money. We got issues today. It'll be fine. They don't listen. And then lo and behold, of course, it gets worse. And kind of like what we're seeing now. But it's a movie, so things have to accelerate at a crazy bit of business. some of this stuff probably could happen, but the fact it happened so fast, hey, it's a movie, it's popcorn entertainment, it is what it is. I know this is supposedly one of the most scientifically inaccurate movies, along with like Armageddon and some of those other films. But I mean, the first half I thought was pretty decent in this movie. I like Dennis Quaid, always liked him as an actor. Inner Space, Frequency, yes, even Jaws 3D. It's nice to have Dennis Quaid in the lead. He's having little issues with his son, played by Jay Gyllenhaal, who I do like Jay Gyllenhaal. Liked him in the film Southpaw, Donnie Darko, among others. And the son is in a decathlon competition with other students, and they're going to New York. Of course, there's friction between father and son, because we need some type of family drama in there. Ian Holm, the android Ash from Alien, he was also in The Fifth Element. He's there as a professor who concurs with what Dennis Quaid is saying. And all this crazy stuff starts happening. There's snowing in New Delhi, which isn't that crazy because, hell, it snowed here in Texas. Hell, in Texas, it got so deathly cold we had no power for like 2 weeks. So, yeah, this climate shift is pretty fucking real to me. And nowadays, like, it's like 100 degrees every single day. Like, the hottest it's ever been. Like, years ago, it was the coldest it's ever been. Now it's the hottest it's ever been. So, you tell me the climate shift ain't real? I'm living it, buddy. You also have these events happening in Tokyo. They're getting hail the size of baseballs. In LA, there's tornadoes everywhere. Take out the Hollywood sign, take out Capitol Records. There are choppers that instantly freeze because there's the deep freeze that will freeze stuff in seconds. And that's the thing, if you have these ideas that some would say works on the Sci-Fi Channel, give me a budget and some likable actors and I'll have a pretty decent time. Leave my brain at the door and I can have a good time. The first half of that was that. And when at decent pace, you had some big action special effects spectacles. I said this, the tornadoes in LA, fun idea. Because, I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we will see that, so I wouldn't even call it unrealistic. But it's a movie, gotta be bigger, so it's not just one tornado, it's like 4, 5, 7 tornadoes. And the destruction, and like there's one reporter, and he turns, and a damn billboard hits him right in the face. And the special effects for 2004 isn't too bad. I mean, of course, it's 2004, so it's not the state of today. But you know what? The effects are not too bad. They're not too spiffy. I mean, they're not... Just want to check I'm still recording. They're not too bad. They hold up decently well for the time period this came out in. Especially compared to a lot of other movies and their special effects. Not too bad. Listen, you see the spectacle here. It's you know, maybe some would say goofy, but some fun times there. Even the flood that encapsulates all of New York, and you almost see it consume the damn Statue of Liberty. They definitely put the budget on the screen, and it was definitely, at the time, some stunning special effects. Nowadays, it's pretty decent. The characters maybe don't have as much charisma or personality compared to the characters in Independence Day, and may sometimes feel a little bit flat. But it's okay. I like Dennis Quaid, I like Ian Holm, I like Jay Gyllenhaal. And then when it gets about halfway through, I would say after the flooding in New York, where Dennis Quaid finds out that his son's in New York, his son's in trouble, and he decides to go on this journey, and his two buddies join, while Jake Gyllenhaal and the group are holding up at the public library. That's when the movie really falters. And like I said, I don't hate the film, but the second half is not nearly as entertaining, not nearly as effects heavy, not nearly as exciting as the first half. Because Dennis Quaid's journey is not that interesting of a journey. It's pretty much they're going in the snow, and like two things happen. Spoiler alert. Spoilers for a 2004 film, but spoilers. It's A, they go across this galleria, they realize they walked on glass, they fall through, one of them dies, and then they're walking, they realize the defreeze is coming, and thankfully the defreeze is like, I don't know, the Blob or something, where you could easily escape it, and you close one door, and then you're almost perfectly fine. I don't know if defreeze would work like that, but it is what it is for the movie. And that's pretty much his journey. And there's a part of me that almost goes, what's the point of this journey? What was the point of you guys venturing out in the snow? And what are you dying? I mean, I guess I could find a point which I'll get to. But it's just not that exciting, thrilling, or not a lot of obstacles, not a lot of thrills during that journey. And on the flip side, New York, it's pretty much them hanging around the library, talking. I get that you say it's character development, but like I said, the characters, I'm more like the actors than the characters. I'll put it that way. It's the actors I like more. Like, there's a homeless guy in the movie. I don't mind him. The soon-to-be girlfriend of Jake Gyllenhaal, and then the buddy they have, I don't mind those actors. I like that there's this guy who you think they don't go the typical, oh, he's a douchebag student, but he's not. He's actually a decent guy, just a normal, regular guy. I like that they didn't go with the typical, okay, he's going to be the douchebag, and he's going to want the girl, but Jake Gyllenhaal loves the girl as well, and then the guy's going to do some stupid stuff, which would be ridiculous at this point, but just to prove a point, or just to be a badass, or just to have some love triangle. Thankfully, they didn't do any of that. There's really no human villain in this. I thought that was refreshing, because it's very easy to fall into that trope of having a human villain. They did not do that. I found that kind of refreshing. So that was nice. But it's pretty much them just burning books, Jake trying to convince these people not to leave because, hey, I talked to my dad and he works for the government and he knows what's going on. You guys don't freeze out there. A good chunk of them don't listen to him. And they did what they did. This scene that did not need to be in the film, I honestly wish it would have been cut out and just be a shorter movie, because the movie's about 2 hours or so. This could have been a shorter film, and Jake Gyllenhaal, I'll just say his girlfriend, at one point got hurt. She needs medical supplies. The ship has passed by. They get on it, and there's these awful, awful looking CGI wolves. I talked about how the special effects look good. That's the one big exception. These wolves look like the werewolves in American Wolf in Paris. Awful wolves that escape from the zoo. Just the worst CGI in the movie easily. Should not have been in the film. Easily the lamest, weakest, dumbest part of the movie. Well, I mean, I know it's weird to say dumbest, but just the weakest, lamest, not exciting. You just laugh at how shitty the special effects look. So there's no sense of tension, no sense of excitement, because you're like, that looked like Sci-Fi Channel. Again, that looked like American Wolf in Paris level. And you didn't need it. Because they do a couple things, they get all away, they fix the girl, she's fine. Like, you didn't even need any of that. The fact that they're in a deep freeze and they're burning books and, you know, they're trying to survive is good enough. Or if you want a longer running time, put some more obstacles for Dennis Quaid's journey. Or have it be like some time limit where, I don't know, Jake Gyllenhaal needs some type of medicine that he has, and they're probably not going to be able to get because of the chaos, so he's going to bring it to him, and that's why I need to get to my son, I need to give him this medicine, or I need to give him this thing. If I wait, the 10 or whatever days, 2 weeks, he's not going to make it, or something like that. But it's not the case. Then ultimately, Dennis Quaid and his buddy get there, and I guess you could say the point was Quaid was able to contact some higher ups and let them know, hey, there are survivors here. Thus, everything's cleared up. You can come look for survivors. We're over here. And so they send more and more helicopters, and there's more and more survivors. So I guess you could say Dennis Quaid was the confirmation. So, but that's the only factor to say that he accomplished. Granted, you would think they would have looked anyway. But I guess on the flip side, it's like, well, we don't want to send choppers there, and then immediately they get frozen, and then boom, we're dead. So I guess, that's what Dennis Quaid accomplished. But it just, the second half is not nearly as thrilling or big, or, I mean, I like some of the visuals. When Quaid is you have the wide shots of a frozen New York City. But it just, the second half just felt very lackluster. As I said, Dennis Quaid, like, he doesn't have much to say. There's not really much room for humor. Again, there's like 2 little obstacles Quaid encounters. It's pretty much it. I mean, you have the awful looking CGI wolves. Just kind of a dull second part of the movie. It's kind of like, once the shit happens, they're kind of like, oh, well, what do we do now? Well, Dennis Quaid walks more than Lord of the Rings, and Jay Gyllenhaal burns some books and put some fucking wolves in there just because, and there you go. So, it's not an awful film. I like it, but the second half definitely brings it down a bit compared with the first half. I mean, the second half had a bit more obstacles, a bit more effect set pieces, a bit more. It's kind of like they blew their load the first half. They blew their load, and then they didn't have much left in the tank for the second half of the film, so it kind of ends more on a whimper than a bang. At least that's what it seems like to me. But like I said, it's not a bad film. I've seen much worse. I've seen much better. So at the end, it's okay. So that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.